What if your job wasn't just a job, but a movement to elevate the world's consciousness? This was the promise of WeWork, a startup that at its peak was valued at a staggering $47 billion. At its helm was a messianic leader who sold a vision of community, connection, and changing the world. But the story of what's going on behind the scenes is crazy. Behind the mandatory parties and the free-flowing beer was a cult-like culture, and a leader whose excesses would drive the company to one of the most spectacular collapses in modern history. This is the insane history of WeWork, but it's also a journey into the mind of a founder who flew way, way too close to the sun. And this is a story that affects us all. Section 1. The visionary and the dream. Every seismic story has an epicenter, and for WeWork, that was Adam Neumann. A towering figure with boundless energy, Neumann had an almost supernatural ability to persuade. One venture capitalist even called him the most charismatic pitchman I ever saw. Interestingly, his upbringing in an Israeli kibbutz instilled in him a deep belief in the power of community. This, combined with an unshakable self-belief, created a figure that investors and employees couldn't help but be drawn to. He and his co-founder, Miguel McKelvey, looked at a world reeling from the 2008 financial crisis and saw not just empty office buildings, but a world plagued by loneliness. Their idea was simple, but revolutionary. Before WeWork, co-working was dull. Neumann and McKelvey envisioned something else. Beautiful, Instagrammable offices with sleek wooden floors, community lounges, and neon signs flashing slogans like "Hustle Harder." But the real product wasn't the office space. It was the we ethos. Neumann wasn't selling desks. He was selling a lifestyle, a family, a movement. He spoke of WeWork in grand, almost spiritual terms. This wasn't a real estate company. It was a tech company that was going to elevate the world's consciousness. It was a narrative so compelling that it would attract billions of dollars and convince thousands of people they weren't just taking a job. They were joining the we generation, and they were going to change the world. Section 2. Building the we generation with Neumann's vision as the fuel. WeWork ignited. The company expanded at a blistering, almost reckless pace. The key that unlocked this hypergrowth was Masayoshi Son, the head of the Japanese conglomerate SoftBank. Son was captivated by Neumann's vision and poured a staggering $10 billion into the company. And just like that, WeWork's valuation soared, peaking at an eye-watering $47 billion, making it one of the most valuable startups in the world. To the outside world, it looked like a revolution. Inside, it was something else entirely. WeWork cultivated an all-consuming culture that completely blurred the lines between work and life. The perks were legendary: free beer on tap, kombucha, fully stocked kitchens. But these weren't just benefits. They were tools to keep employees in the office. The company's motto became, "Thank God it's Monday," and this was enforced through a relentless schedule of social events. Attendance at parties wasn't just encouraged, it was often mandatory. One former employee recounted how they would cry in the bathroom all the time because of the grueling hours, with meetings sometimes called on Sundays. The pinnacle of this culture was the annual summer camp. These were multi-day festivals where thousands of employees were brought together for a haze of talks, activities, and alcohol. Stories emerged of a frat boy culture, and the company even used tracking bracelets to monitor attendance. Neumann fostered an almost cult-like atmosphere, where employees were expected to be completely committed to the mission. And for a while, this intoxicating brew of purpose and partying worked. People put in brutal hours for modest pay because they genuinely believed they were part of a movement. Neumann's wife, Rebecca, who was the chief brand officer, said it best: "We don't have a line at all between work and life. There is no line." However, this would all change. Section 3. Cracks in the facade. While the we generation hustled, the man at the top was living a life of unimaginable excess. Adam Neumann's behavior grew increasingly erratic, and his spending was legendary. He bought a $60 million private jet, which he reportedly used for party-fueled trips with friends. He bought a $21 million mansion in California, multiple homes in New York. You get the idea. The spending wasn't just personal, it was deeply entangled with the company's finances. In one of the most glaring examples, Neumann personally trademarked the word "we," then had WeWork pay him nearly $6 million for the right to use it. He also bought properties and then leased them back to WeWork, effectively becoming his own company's landlord. His leadership style, once seen as visionary, now seemed unchecked. He would walk around the office barefoot and encourage tequila shots during the workday. His ambitions ballooned. He talked of expanding into schools with Wegro, apartments with Weliv, and even expressed aspirations of becoming president of the world. But behind the grand pronouncements, the company's financials were a catastrophe. In 2018 alone, WeWork lost nearly $2 billion. For every dollar it earned, it was spending $2. The problem was that despite calling itself a tech company, it was a real estate business with a fundamentally flawed model. It signed long-term leases for office space and then rented that space out on short-term contracts. So to mask the hemorrhaging losses, the company invented its own metrics, like community-adjusted EBITDA, which conveniently ignored massive costs like rent and construction. It was a house of cards, built on hype. But a day of reckoning was fast approaching. Section 4. The Great Unraveling, the beginning of the end, came on August 14, 2019. On that day, WeWork publicly filed its S-1 document for its planned IPO. For the first time, the company's finances, its bizarre governance, and its deep conflicts of interest were laid bare for the entire world to see. The document was a bombshell. Financial journalists tore it apart. It revealed the staggering losses. It detailed the millions in loans WeWork had given to Adam Neumann. It even included a dedication to the energy of we, greater than any one of us, but inside each of us. The response was brutal. The document was ridiculed as a work of corporate fiction. The narrative that Neumann had so carefully crafted for years evaporated overnight. The perception of WeWork flipped from a revolutionary unicorn to a deeply troubled real estate company with a reckless leader and no path to profitability. The backlash was catastrophic. The company's $47 billion valuation plummeted to under $10 billion in a matter of weeks. So the IPO, which was meant to be Neumann's coronation, was dead. On September 17, 2019, WeWork officially postponed it. The company was now on the brink of running out of money entirely. The same investors who had championed Neumann now turned on him. Just a week later, Adam Neumann was forced to step down as CEO. The messianic leader was unceremoniously ousted from his own kingdom, and he walked away with a severance package worth hundreds of millions of dollars, while the company he left behind was in ruins. The great unraveling was complete. Section 5. The aftermath and the lesson. With Adam Neumann gone, WeWork was in a desperate fight for survival. Its largest investor, SoftBank, stepped in with a multi-billion-dollar bailout to prevent a total collapse. What followed was a painful downsizing. Thousands of employees, the we generation, were laid off. The party was over. The final blow came on November 6, 2023, when WeWork filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. The journey from a $47 billion valuation to bankruptcy in just over 4 years was complete. The company has since emerged from bankruptcy in 2024 under new ownership, trying to rebrand itself as a stable, mature office provider. A far cry from its past. And what about the visionary who started it all? Adam Neumann walked away a billionaire. After a brief time out of the spotlight, he re-emerged with a new venture called Flow, a residential real estate company, eerily similar to Weliv. He even tried to buy WeWork back out of bankruptcy, but the bid failed. Interestingly, his new company has already attracted hundreds of millions in funding. The WeWork saga stands as one of the most powerful cautionary tales of our time. It's a story about the dangers of a growth-at-all-costs mentality. It highlights a perilous flaw in startup culture that often equates a charismatic founder with a viable business, allowing larger-than-life personalities to operate with almost no accountability. WeWork was never really a tech company. It was a real estate company wrapped in the language of a movement. It proves that no amount of free beer or motivational slogans can defy the basic laws of business. Hype can get you funding, but it can't make you profitable. In the end, the The story of WeWork is a stark reminder that even the most inspiring vision must eventually answer to the numbers on a balance sheet. If you want to see more deep dives into the biggest stories in business and tech, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Let us know in the comments which company's story you want us to break down next. Thanks for watching.